Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing the 10 album challenge. Now, this is something that I heard about when I was watching Frank and his channel 33 RPM, where he asked his wife to select 10 albums on vinyl for him to have a look at. And basically, the idea is if he hasn't heard that album in the last year, then he puts it aside, has a listen to it, and then comes back later and sort of talks about it. So I thought that, and he invited other people to do this, so I thought I'd jump on this one. So I'm going to do the 10 album challenge. Now, I didn't ask my wife to do this. I thought, if you've seen one of the recent episodes I did where she was making some comments on some of the album covers in my collection, you probably would have worked out she's not a big fan of some of the albums in my collection. So I thought maybe I'll ask somebody else. So I've actually asked my kids. I've got two kids. So I asked them to go through my collection, and they've each selected 5 albums each. So I've got the 10 albums. Now, basically, they got to choose one album from each of the boxes or crates at the back here. And these records are pretty much, all of this part of my collection is 80s, some 70s, early 90s. Basically nothing sort of post 1993. So pretty much. So, a lot of 80s, definitely. They took a record from sort of each box. It should be a good mix, but it definitely will be a lot of hard rock, hair metal, heavy metal, AOR, that sort of, that type of music. So, so this is going to be fun. I have no idea. They selected the records and then put them in this bag here. So I have no idea what I'm going to pull out. If I know the record pretty well, I've, as the rules say, if I've listened to it over the last year, then I will talk about it today. Otherwise, I'll put it aside and I will talk about it a little bit more with a bit more detail, a bit more knowledge when I do part 2 of this. All right, so let's get into it. I'm just going to pull out the first one without looking. Let's see, what have we got first up? Okay, this is an interesting one. Circle of Soul. Now, this one's definitely one I'm going to have to put aside. Now, this is funk metal. I'm pretty sure that would be what you would categorize this. I'm pretty sure this came out in 1992. So one of those albums a little bit late to the party, so to speak. I guess Extreme had a lot of success with their album that came out around this time. And they've got a similar type of sound. Again, that funk metal kind of sound. I do know there's a song on here I really do like. I think it might be Heart in the City. But some of the other songs I'm not so familiar with. I mean, I do remember listening to it and thinking, it's not really my thing. Heart in the City, I think I remember liking, and that might be about it. But definitely one I'm gonna give another spin. In fact, quite looking forward to giving another spin, because sometimes, I have no idea how long ago since I listened to that. So, I could listen to it with completely different, have a completely different opinion now. So that'll be an interesting one. I think they're a one and done band, so Circle of Soul. All right, next one. It's got the, it's still got the plastic cover on it, but it's, Bo Nasty. Now, this one I'm pretty sure I've talked about, because I think I did a one and done show over the last year where I talked about these guys. So Bo Nasty, dirty but well dressed. So I'm not going to put this one aside. I'll talk about this one now. Like I say, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this album on my channel before. I think it was on the One and Done show, actually. It's got one, two, three. It's listed 4 songs that it includes. But I mean, this was not a hit. I mean, I think Shake It was the first single. For me, the best song is Gemini. That's a really good song, but it's definitely hair metal. Some people do like it. For me, it's a bit average. Now, it's interesting too that the executive producer is Bo Hill. They're called Bo Nasty. I don't know if there's any meaning behind that, but the producer is actually Paul Winger, who is Kip Winger's brother. And the Winger brothers, Nate and Paul, do background vocals as well. Probably the most well-known guy on here is the drummer, Mike Tirana. He goes on and plays in quite a few well-known bands. And still active as a drummer. But Yeah, so no, I'm not a massive fan of it, but like I say, I like Gemini. That's a good song. But yeah, very much. If you're talking about, if you wanted to say, well, what does hair metal sound like? You could put this album on, and it wouldn't be the best example of good hair metal, but it would be an example of hair metal. So that won't be one that makes the needs to be played again list. All right, number 3. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm pretty sure I played this over the last year, and the reality is that such a classic album, played it so many times. I know every song. I'm sure I have played it over the last year. I still enjoy playing it. Holy Diver, just an incredible record. Of course, I've done a Dio ranking on my channel before as well, and this would have been well up there. I tell you what though, I can't remember off the top of my head if it was this one or if it was Last in Line, because they're both so good. It was probably this one, I'd say, because this is just, it's got Don't Talk to Strangers. It is such a great song, and of course the title track. But then you've got Gypsy, Caught in the Middle. I quite like Rainbow in the Dark. I know quite a lot of keyboards on that one, but I don't mind it. I think it's a nice variety. Just every track, killer. Great stuff. What a debut. So yeah, that's going to go on there. Doesn't need to be listened to. But I probably will still listen to it again sometime soon, because it's such a great album. All right, so that's 3 done. We're on to number 4. Oh my goodness, Kiss, Rock and Roll Over. Now, believe it or not, this one is going to go on there. I've got to listen to it again, because 70s Kiss is not my Kiss. I've got to be honest with you. I know for most people it is. I mean, I've got Double Platinum. I love that compilation, with all their sort of well-known hit songs. But the actual 70s studio albums, I mean, I've heard them, I've got them, but, I don't know them as well as the 80s ones. So this is actually, I'm really happy to have another listen to this. I mean, like I say, if I go through, look at the songs, I mean, yeah, Calling Dr. Love, of course, I know that one. Making Love, that's a great song. I like Hard Luck Woman, actually. I do like that one. But there's a few other songs on here I'm not so sure about, not so familiar with. Oh, I Want You, that's a good one. But yeah, this is actually, when I'm just going through it, actually, there are a few songs I know quite well and really like. But a few of those deeper tracks I'm not so familiar with. So yep, put that on the playlist. All right, so that's 50-50 so far. All right, half I'm going to play, half I don't need to. All right, this is number 5. Oh my goodness, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Well, I mean, say no more. I don't know for certain I played it this year. It's an album a bit like Dio, really, where I've played it so much, and I love this album so much. I probably have. I don't think I need to really listen to it again. I've called this before. Like for me, it was one of those perfect albums. Every song is either good or great. And yeah, I mean, it's a classic. So yeah, no, I don't need to talk too much about that one. Great album, of course. All right, so that's 5. So 3 I don't need to listen to. 2 that are on the will listen to list. Let's see what comes up next. All right, now this is an interesting one, because I do keep my 12-inch singles in with my albums. So one of my kids has selected a 12-inch single, not an album, which is possibly not doesn't quite fit the criteria. So sorry about that. But like I say, I didn't do the selection here. I probably might have got a little bit too complicated if I said now kids don't select 12-inch singles. They would be like, 12-inch singles? What are you talking about? So yeah, it's we'll just have to go with this. So this is Vamp and The Rich Don't Rock. Now I do have their album as well. So maybe we could count the album as the selection. And if that's the case, I think I will put that on the listen to list. So now this is the single though, Rick Don't Rock. Yep. But what's cool about this 12-inch single is it's got Why and Shout on the B side, and they're 2 non-album tracks. Well, I think they're tracks that weren't they're definitely not on the vinyl copy of the album. They may have been on the CD copy. So that's the reason I've got this, and they're actually really good songs too. So but I will put this on the play it again list. It's actually been one I've been thinking about playing again anyway, because I do really like it, but I haven't spun it for quite a while. And So yeah, I'll put that on the list down here. All right, number 7. Okay, this is an interesting one. Stranger. Now, I don't know too much about these guys, but I do know I like the album. It came out early 80s on Epic, and they've actually got a few albums. They released a few other albums, I think, after this, but not on major labels, and they're kind of hard to track down. They may not even be on vinyl, I'm not sure. But they did stick around for a while. But this one's 1982 on CBS, produced by Tom Werman. So, major label, big time producer. It's just self-titled. The band's called Stranger. There they are there. So they've got that sort of, that sort of hard rock sort of, this is before hair metal, but they've certainly got the hair and the look. But I do like this, but I really have not heard this one for quite a while, so that's a great one to have another listen to. Yeah, it's really pretty much just early 80s hard rock. It's good. All right, so we've got I've got 4 to listen to and 3 that I don't need to listen to. So that means I must have 3 left. I'll just check that there's 3 in the bag here. Yes, that's good. The kids have done well. They can count. All right, let's go. What do we got? Oh, classic. So this is Sabotage and Gutter Ballet, my favourite Sabotage album. This is the reissue, which comes on this really nice. It's like folds out, gate. It never used to, the original vinyl didn't have a big gatefold like this. Wasn't quite this nice a package. All this kind of stuff here, fantastic. Also, put that there. It says includes a 10-inch vinyl single. Yeah, so it's got this 10-inch vinyl single with it as well, which has got When the Crowds Are Gone live, B-side. So there's that. So I tell you what, I think I will put this on. I know this album pretty well, to be honest, but I haven't actually when I picked this up, quite recently. I haven't really spun it very much, so and I don't even think I've even played this. So I should do that. So we'll put it on the playlist. Okay, 2 more to go. All right, now I've talked about this band on my channel before. This is Private Life. Now I think this is their I think this is their first album. They've got 2 albums. I'm pretty sure this is the one anyway that's produced by Eddie Van Halen. So Eddie Van Halen and Ted Templeman produced this. I don't think there's any songwriting from them, but I'm not absolutely certain on that. I know that Touch Me is a really good song. I really like that, and Domino, that was a good one. Which is a Van Morrison song. That's right. Which is it's a cover, isn't it? Yeah, it's good. And I think the other album possibly I prefer more. Yeah, the one after this one. Oh, here it is. Here, I've just got it down here, so I'll just bring it up. So I think this is the one that came out next. Yeah. Also produced by Eddie Van Halen, but this time he's got Don Landy helping out. So Ted Templeman on the first one, but Eddie and Don on the second one. But this one I think I prefer a little bit more, but they're really quite similar. Not that heavy. Female fronted. I quite like a bit of female fronted melodic hard rock. I'm going to put that on the listen to list though, because I think I have talked about them on my channel, and I'm pretty sure I may have even played it over the last year. But because I'm not absolutely certain, and I'm a bit unsure about some of the songs, I'll put that on the playlist. And the last one, Masters of Reality. So this, I'm pretty certain I've never talked about this album on my channel before. These guys, when this album came out, I wasn't really too sure about it, but I did like the fact it was on Deaf American, and they were I think this came out around 1992, and they were on fire. They were putting out some great stuff around this time. Danzig, of course, being one of the better ones. But yeah, Masters of Reality, fantastic. I think Chris Goss is the name of the guy who's sort of the main man of this band. And he goes on and is a producer on the Kyuss, some of the early Kyuss albums, and they're like very influential in the stoner metal sort of sound. But this is, it got compared to Black Sabbath, but it's quite different. to Black Sabbath as well. But yeah, I can see the comparisons, but yeah, different. Definitely, it was when this came out in the sort of, I think this was 91, 92 maybe. I'm absolutely certain. But it was a little bit different. Deaf American, of course, was a little bit different. It had some sort of, they didn't really sign up a lot of hair metal bands. They were more into that those sort of bands that were signing bands, I think, influenced more by the 70s punk, heavy metal, that 70s metal, that those sort of bands. And yeah, that's kind of what you get here. But it takes a while to grow on you, but once it gets in your head, it's really good. So I like all their albums. I picked up all their albums after this one. This is not my favorite one, but it's probably my second favorite. But yeah, I'm going to put it on the playlist because I'm pretty sure I haven't played it for at least a year. So yeah, so I'll put that one on there. So there's I think Frank was the same when he did his. There was quite a few that he actually put down on the to be played list. So basically, I've got 1, 2, 3 that I'm not going to play, but yeah, 7 I will play, and I will talk about them on part 2. All right, so there we go. There's the 10 album challenge. Hope you enjoyed that. Yes, it was fun to do, actually. It was a bit of a surprise seeing what was in the bag. And yeah, I don't know how long it will take me to go through those 7 records. Probably not too long, because I kind of know most of them fairly well. There's a couple there that are a little bit more, might need a little bit more time for me to listen to. But yeah, and I'll come back with a part 2. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.